Timon didn't plan to die today, not on this small space station at the edge of human space. He was just a cargo pilot who moved boxes from one planet to another. For 15 years, he had flown his ship through dangerous areas. He had escaped pirates, survived storms in space, and even lived through a small war. But now, he was bleeding on the dirty ground of Station Epsilon 9. 5 deep cuts in his chest burned with pain. His eyes could barely see as he looked up at the fake sky above the station. The artificial clouds moved peacefully, not caring about what happened below. It all happened so fast. Timon had been loading boxes onto his ship when he heard loud voices and then a strange cry. The cry didn't sound human. Curious, he walked toward the noise. In a narrow path between buildings, he found 3 men with weapons surrounding what looked like a child. But this was no ordinary child. This child had shiny scales on its arms and small wing-like bumps on its back. A dragon child. Dragons were mysterious beings from the Draconis Nebula. Humans had only started talking to them 8 years ago. Please. The child said in perfect human language, I am lost. The 3 men laughed. Their knife-like weapons glowed in the station's light. Worth a lot of money, one man said. Just the scales will buy us a new ship. Timon didn't think. He just acted. He jumped between the child and the nearest weapon. He pushed the dragon child aside. Run. He shouted to the child. The first blade cut into his side. The second and third quickly followed. By the 4th cut, Timon fell to his knees. The 5th sent him falling backward. Finally, station guards arrived, and the attackers ran away. Now, as darkness started to cover his vision, Timon felt small. Scaled hands press against his wounds. Be still, human friend, the child whispered in a musical voice. The dead is marked. The scales remember. Those were the last words Timon heard before everything went black. When he woke up, Timon felt strange. He was on a soft bed in a room he didn't know. The pain in his chest was gone. Instead, a warm feeling spread through his body. He blinked several times, trying to understand where he was. The ceiling above him shined like the inside of a seashell. It had patterns that changed colors as he watched. The human wakes, said a deep voice. Timon turned his head. Next to his bed stood a tall figure. It looked somewhat like a human, but was covered in small scales that shifted between green and blue. Its eyes had up and down pupils, black with gold around them. Small horns curved from the sides of its head. I'm alive. Timon's voice sounded different to him, stronger somehow. You are more than alive. Timon of Earth, the dragon being said. You are born again. Slowly, Timon sat up. He expected pain, but none came. He looked at his chest. 5 clear scars formed a pattern on his skin, but they weren't red like new cuts. Instead, they shined like metal, as if filled with liquid silver. Where am I? He asked, looking around the room. The walls curved in strange ways and seemed to glow softly. You are in Awoke, the heart city of the dragon kingdoms, the dragon answered. I am Jiho, first guardian of the royal family. The child you saved was Heian, youngest daughter of our king. Timon couldn't believe it. The dragon kingdoms, but that's in the Draconis Nebula. How did I get here? I was dying on Epsilon 9. Jiho's face showed no emotion, but Timon thought he saw respect in those strange eyes. Our doctors kept you alive long enough to bring you here. Our fastest ship brought you through space in a special way. You have been asleep for 7 days while the breath of dragons worked in your body. Breath of dragons, our most holy healing magic. We needed it to save your life, but it has changed you. Jiho pointed to a mirror on the wall. C4. Yourself. Timon stood on shaky legs and walked to the mirror. The face that looked back was his own, but different. His once brown eyes now had spots of gold in them. Faint scale-like patterns showed at the edges of his face. When he moved, he felt stronger, more balanced. What happened to me? He whispered. You are the first human to receive the breath and live. Jiho said, the king wants to talk to you. We need to discuss your future, Guardian Timon. Guardian, I'm just a cargo pilot. Jiho's mouth curved in what might have been a smile. Not anymore. You took 5 blades for a dragon child. Now you will stand among the Dragon Kingdom's greatest guardians." Timon looked at his hands. They looked mostly the same, but something felt different. He could sense a new power flowing through him. The 5 silver scars on his chest seemed to pulse with energy. "Why would you make me a guardian?" Timon asked. "You barely know me. We know what matters." Jiho replied, "In the moment of truth, when faced with danger, you chose to protect one of our children at the cost of your own life. Such actions reveal more about a person than years of talking." Timon thought about the dragon child Heian, the princess. "Is she okay?" "The child? She is well. Thanks to you. She has asked to see you when you are ready." Jiho moved toward the door. "Rest now. Tomorrow, you will meet the king and learn what it means to be a guardian of the Dragon Kingdoms." As Jiho left, Timon returned to the bed. He touched the silver scars on his chest, wondering what other changes the breath of dragons had made to him. He was far from home, in a place humans had barely visited, and somehow he had become important to these powerful beings. His old life of moving cargo from planet to planet seemed very far away now. Whatever waited for him tomorrow, Timon knew nothing would ever be the same again. The next morning, Timon was given new clothes to wear. They were unlike anything he had seen before. The fabric felt light but strong, and it changed colors slightly when he moved, like the scales of the dragons. A young dragon servant named Duha helped him dress. "These are guardian clothes," Duha explained. "They will protect you better than any human armor." Timon touched the material. "It feels almost alive." "It is, in a way," Duha said. "It will grow stronger as you do." When he was ready, Jiho came to take him to meet the Dragon King. They walked through hallways that seemed to be made of crystal and living stone. Timon saw many dragons of different sizes and colors. Some looked almost human, while others were more like the dragons from Earth stories. All of them stopped to stare at him as he passed. "They have never seen a human who carries the breath," Jiho explained. "You are something new to them." Finally, they reached to huge doors that opened by themselves. Beyond was the biggest room Timon had ever seen. The ceiling was so high he could barely see it, and it seemed to show the stars and colorful gases of the Draconis Nebula. In the center of the room was a raised platform with what looked like a throne. On it sat the largest dragon Timon had seen yet. This dragon was twice the size of a human, with scales that shifted between deep red and gold. A crown of horns circled its head, and great wings were folded against its back. "Approach. Human who saved my daughter." The Dragon King's voice was deep and seemed to come from everywhere at once. Timon walked forward and bowed. "Not sure what else to do. You may call me June," the king said. "We do not stand on ceremony with those who have saved our blood." "Thank you, June," Timon said. "I only did what anyone would do." A sound like thunder rolled through the room. It took Timon a moment to realize the dragons were laughing. "Few of your kind would risk themselves for one of ours," June said. "Even fewer would take 5 blades meant for a royal child." The king stood and stepped down from his throne. He moved with surprising grace for his size. Up close, Timon could see that the king's eyes held great wisdom and age. "The marks you bear," June continued, pointing to Timon's chest where the 5 scars lay under his clothes, "are not just healed wounds. They are sacrifice marks, rare even among dragons. They connect you to our world in ways we did not expect." "I don't understand," Timon said. "The breath of dragons saved your life, but changed you into something new. You are neither fully human nor dragon now. You exist between our worlds." June's voice became softer. "This brings both good and bad things." "Bad things?" Jiho stepped forward. "Some humans and some dragons fear our peoples becoming closer. They would see your change as wrong or dangerous, which is why I give you a choice," June said. "We can try to undo what has happened, though it might kill you, and send you back to your people with a reward for your bravery." Or the king's eyes glowed brighter, "or you can stay here and train as a guardian of the royal family. Your human view would be valuable to us, and the powers given by the breath would help you in this role." Timon thought about his life before endless trips carrying cargo. An empty home on Earth he rarely visited, no family since his parents died. Then he looked around at the wonders of this place, feeling the new strength in his body. If I stay, he asked, would I ever see Earth again? You would be more than a guardian, June replied. You would be our first true ambassador to humans, the bridge between our worlds. Before Tai Min could answer, the doors opened again. A small dragon child ran into the room, followed by an older female dragon trying to catch her. Father, is it true? Is the human friend awake? The child's voice was the same musical one Tai Min remembered from the attack. Heian, you should not interrupt, the female dragon began, but June raised his hand. It is fine. Suji, Princess Heian has more right than most to meet her savior. The dragon child Princess Heian stopped in front of Tai Min. Her scales were a beautiful light blue with silver edges. Her eyes were large and golden, filled with curiosity. You saved me, she said simply. You didn't even know me, but you were willing to die for me. Tai Min knelt down to be at her eye level. I couldn't let them hurt you. Why? She asked. Most humans fear us or want to use us. Tai Min thought for a moment. Because it was the right thing to do. Because you needed help, and I could give it. Heian reached out and touched one of the silver scars visible at Tai Min's neck. The scales remember, she said, repeating what she had told him as he lay dying. Will you stay and be our guardian? Tai Min looked from the hopeful face of the dragon child to the watchful eyes of her father. He thought about Earth, so far away, where he had been just another cargo pilot. Here, he could be something more, something important. I will stay, he said finally. I accept your offer, King June. The dragon ruler nodded solemnly. So it shall be. Guardian Tai Min, your training begins tomorrow. Heian clapped her small hands together. I will help teach you our ways. Suji, who seemed to be Heian's personal guardian, looked less pleased. The human has much to learn if he is to be a true guardian. I'm willing to learn, Tai Min said. I know I have a long way to go. Your journey has just begun, Jiho said. The breath of dragons has given you abilities you don't yet understand. Powers no human has ever had. What kind of powers? Tai Min asked. June spread his great wings, which filled much of the space around him. That is what you will discover in your training. The sacrifice marks you bear are channels for dragon energy. In time, you may even grow wings of your own, not of flesh, but of pure power. Tai Min tried to imagine himself with wings. It seemed impossible, yet after everything that had happened, he was ready to believe in impossible things. Rest today, June said. Tomorrow, Guardian Suji will begin your physical training, and Jiho will teach you our history and ways. As Tai Min bowed again to the king, he felt a strange warmth spreading from the 5 scars on his chest. Whatever he was becoming, whatever lay ahead, he knew his life had found a new purpose among the stars. The next morning came too soon for Tai Min. He had spent the night in a room that seemed to change shape slightly as he slept, adjusting to his comfort. The bed had no blankets, but the air stayed perfectly warm. He woke to find Guardian Suji waiting for him. You are slow to wake, she said. Her scales were deep red, almost black along her back. Unlike the king, she was small for a dragon, only a bit taller than Tai Min. We have much work to do. Tai Min rubbed his eyes. What time is it? Time works differently here than in human space, Suji said. But by your counting, it would be very early morning. Come, eat quickly. A table near his bed held strange fruits and what looked like bread but glowed slightly. Tai Min ate carefully, finding the food oddly satisfying. It filled him with energy almost instantly. This is guardian food, Suji explained. It will help your body adjust to the breath. After eating, Suji led him outside the palace for the first time. Tai Min gasped at what he saw. The dragon city of Seonguk spread out below them, a vast collection of crystal towers and living buildings that seemed to grow from the ground. The sky above was not blue like Earth's, but a deep purple, with 2 suns shining down. One was red, the other gold. This is amazing, Tai Min said. This is home, Suji replied. And now it is your home too. Follow me. She led him to an open area that looked like a training ground. Other dragons were there, moving through what seemed like fighting forms, but slower and more graceful than any human martial art. First, you must learn to feel the energy of the breath within you, Suji said. The 5 marks you bear are not just scars. They are channels, Channels for what? Taimin asked. For G, she said. What humans might call life force or energy. All living things have it, but dragons can control and shape it. Now, because of the breath, you can too. Suji showed him how to stand, feet apart, back straight. Close your eyes. Feel the marks on your chest. They should be warm. Taimin did as she said. At first, he felt nothing special, but after a few minutes of quiet breathing, he began to notice a warmth spreading from the 5 silver scars. It moved through his body like a gentle current. I feel something, he said, eyes still closed. Good now. Direct that feeling to your hands. Taimin tried to imagine the warm energy flowing down his arms to his fingertips. To his surprise, it seemed to follow his thoughts. Open your eyes, Suji said. Taimin looked down at his hands. They were glowing with a soft silver light, the same color as his scars. I'm doing this, he asked in wonder. The breath gives you the power. Your will shapes it. Suji demonstrated by holding out her own hand. Red energy, the same color as her scales, formed around her fingers. With training, you will learn to use this energy for many things. To protect, to heal, even to fly. But I don't have wings, you will make them, she said simply. Now, try to hold that energy for as long as you can. The rest of the morning was spent learning to control the flow of energy. By midday, Taimin was tired but excited. He could now make the silver light appear at will, though holding it for more than a few minutes left him exhausted. After a short rest and more of the glowing food, Jiho came to take him for the second part of his training. Suji teaches the body, Jiho said as they walked through the palace. I will teach the mind and heart. A guardian must know who and what they protect. Jiho took him to a room filled with what looked like floating bubbles of light. Each one was about the size of Taimin's head. These are memory spheres, Jiho explained. They hold our history, our knowledge. Touch one, and you will see and feel what it contains. Carefully, Taimin reached out and touched a sphere that glowed with a blue light. Instantly, his mind filled with images and feelings. He saw the dragon homeworld as it was thousands of years ago. He felt the joy of young dragons taking their first flight. He understood, somehow, the basic structure of dragon society and their values. When he pulled his hand away, the knowledge remained. That's amazing, he said. I learned more in a minute than I could from reading for days. This is how we will teach you our ways, Jiho said. But be careful. Some spheres hold difficult memories or complex knowledge that might overwhelm you. We will start with the simple ones. For the next few hours, Taimin touched sphere after sphere, learning about dragon history, culture, and science. He learned that dragons had explored space long before humans, that they valued art and beauty as much as strength, and that family bonds were sacred to them. By the end of the day, Taimin's mind was as tired as his body. He returned to his room to find Princess Heian waiting for him. Did you learn a lot today? She asked eagerly. More than I thought possible, Taimin admitted, sitting heavily on his bed. Father says you are doing well, Heian said. Better than expected for a human. I'm not sure, I'm still just a human, Taimin said. Looking at his hands, the silver glow was gone now, but he could still feel the energy inside him, waiting to be called. You're something new, Heian agreed. That's why you're important. You can help humans understand us better. Is that why your father made me an ambassador as well as a guardian? Heian nodded. Humans fear us because we are different, but you are both human and dragon now. You can show them we are not to be feared. Taimin thought about this. There will be humans who won't trust me because I've changed, and there are dragons who feel the same way, Heian said with wisdom beyond her years. Change is always scary, but it's also necessary. She reached out and touched one of his scars through his shirt. These connect us now. You are part of my family because you were willing to die for me. That means more to dragons than anything else. Taimin felt honored by her words. I'll do my best to be worthy of that trust. I know you will, Heian said with a smile. Tomorrow, Suji will teach you to jump. It's the first step to flying. As the princess left, Taimin lay back on his bed, thinking about everything he had learned. His old life seemed far away now. Here, among the dragons, he had found a new purpose. The 5 scars that marked his sacrifice had opened a door to a world of wonders. Tomorrow, he would learn to jump, and someday, perhaps he would fly. 3 weeks had passed since Timon began his training. Each day, his body grew stronger, and his control over the dragon energy improved. Today, Suji had brought him to the edge of a great cliff outside the city. Below them stretched a deep canyon with a river running through it. Today, you'll learn to truly fly, Suji said. Tai-Min looked down at the long drop. His heart beat faster. Are you sure I'm ready? No, Suji said with a small smile. But you will never be ready until you try. Over the past weeks, Timon had learned to make short jumps using the energy from his scars. He could push off the ground and float for a few seconds, but true flight had seemed impossible. Remember what I taught you, Suji said. The energy responds to your need. In danger, it will grow stronger. So you're putting me in danger to make me stronger? Timon asked. Yes, Suji said simply. That is how dragons learn. Timon took a deep breath. He closed his eyes and focused on the 5 silver scars on his chest. By now, calling the energy was easy. Silver light spread from the scars, flowing through his body. Good, Suji said. Now, imagine the energy forming wings. Timon had tried this before with limited success. He pictured the energy extending from his back, spreading out like the wings of the Dragon King. He felt the power respond. Stretching outward. Open your eyes, Suji commanded. Tai-Min looked over his shoulder. Extending from his back were 2 wing-shaped forms made of silver light. They weren't solid like dragon wings, but looked more like glowing energy in the shape of wings. They're bigger than before, he said with excitement. Because your control is better. Suji nodded. Now jump. Timon looked at the canyon again. What if I fall? Then I will catch you, Suji said. But you will not fall. Trust the breath. Taking another deep breath, Timon stepped to the very edge of the cliff. He focused on his energy wings, feeling them grow stronger. Then, before he could change his mind, he jumped. For a terrible moment, he fell straight down. The canyon floor rushed up toward him. Fear gripped his heart, but then something amazing happened. The fear itself seemed to feed the energy. His silver wings suddenly grew twice their size, catching the air. Instead of falling, Timon found himself gliding. Use your will to direct them, Suji called, flying beside him with her natural dragon wings. Think of them as part of your body. Timon concentrated. He imagined the wings beating, pushing him upward. To his amazement, they responded. Each downward stroke pushed him higher into the air. Soon, he was not just gliding, but truly flying, rising above the canyon. Joy filled him. The feeling of freedom was like nothing he had ever known. Even piloting his cargo ship had not felt this wonderful. This was pure, personal flight, with nothing between him and the open air. I'm flying, he shouted. Yes, Suji said, her usually stern face showing a hint of pride. You are the first human to fly with dragon wings. They soared together over the canyon. Then above the forests beyond, Timon practiced turning, diving, and climbing. Each movement became more natural as he learned to think of the energy wings as part of himself. After an hour of flight, Suji led him back toward the city. Enough for today. The energy will drain you if you use it too long. Timon could feel the truth of her words. His body was growing tired, and maintaining the wings was becoming harder. They landed on a platform near the palace, and Timon let the energy wings fade away. He was breathing hard but smiling widely. That was amazing, he said. It is only the beginning. Suji replied. Soon you will learn to use the energy for more than flight. A guardian must be able to protect as well as travel. After resting and eating, Timon went to his afternoon session with Jiho. Today, they were in a different room, one with a large crystal in the center. Now that you can control the breath energy, Jiho said, it is time you learned about the threats to our kingdom. He gestured to the crystal. This will show you images of our enemies and the dangers we face. Some are natural, some are created by those who wish us harm. Timon placed his hands on the crystal as Jiho had taught him. Images filled his mind. He saw great space creatures that lived in the nebula, feeding on energy. He saw ships from distant worlds that had tried to steal dragon technology. And he saw humans' military ships that had entered dragon space without permission. Scientists who had captured and studied dragon children. Not all humans are enemies, Jiho said, sensing Timon's distress. But some fear what they do not understand. They see our power and want it for themselves, like the men who tried to take Heian. Timon said that double quotes yes. There are those who would pay great wealth for dragon scales, blood, or eggs. They believe these things can give them power or long life, can they? Timon asked. Not in the way they think, Jiho said. The breath only works when freely given, as it was to save your life. Stolen dragon parts have no special power. The crystal showed more images dragon guardians defending their borders, fighting off attackers, rescuing their kind from those who would harm them. This will be your duty too, Jiho said, to protect our people, especially the royal family. I understand, Timon said, but I'm still learning. How can I protect anyone when I've just learned to fly? You already protected Heian when you had no powers at all, Jiho reminded him. Courage and quick thinking are as important as dragon energy. After the lesson, Timon walked through the palace gardens, thinking about everything he had learned. The garden was unlike any on earth. Plants that changed color as you watched them, flowers that sang soft melodies, trees with crystal fruit. You seem troubled, said a voice behind him. Timon turned to see King Jun approaching. The dragon ruler rarely spoke to him directly outside of formal meetings, so this was unusual. I'm just thinking about my place here, Timon admitted. I'm learning so much, but I still feel caught between two worlds. Jun nodded. That is natural. You are the first of your kind, neither fully human nor dragon. Your path will not be easy. Jiho showed me that some humans want to steal dragon power. Timon said, if they learn about me, what I've become, they will want to study you, Jun finished, to learn how a human can carry the breath. Yes, this is a risk, but it is also why you are so valuable as an ambassador. You can show humans that our peoples can work together without fear or theft. The king's great wings shifted, catching the light of the setting suns. In 1 month, a human delegation will visit our world for the first time. You will help us welcome them. Timon felt a mix of excitement and worry. Will they accept what I've become? Some will not, Jun said honestly. But your very existence opens a door between our worlds that cannot be closed again. As the king left, Timon looked up at the purple sky. Somewhere out there was Earth, the home he had left behind. Soon, he would face his own people as something new, a human guardian with dragon powers. He didn't know if they would see him as a bridge between worlds or as something to fear. But as he called forth his energy wings once more, watching them spread silver against the darkening sky, Timon knew he had found his true place. Whatever challenges came next, he would face them not just as a human, not just as a dragon, but as something unique in all the universe. The day of the human delegation's arrival came quickly. Timon stood on the grand landing platform outside the palace, dressed in his full guardian armor. The armor was unlike anything made on Earth, lightweight yet stronger than steel, with patterns that matched his 5 silver scars. A cape of energy flowed from his shoulders, not quite solid, but not quite light either. Beside him stood King Jun, Princess Heian, and the other royal guardians, including Suji and Jiho. They all watched as the human ship came down through the purple sky. Are you nervous? Heian asked, looking up at Timon. A little, he admitted. These are my people, but I'm different now. You are still human, Jiho reminded him. You are just more than you were before. The human ship was large and gray, with the symbol of Earth's united government on its side. It landed smoothly on the platform, and for a moment nothing happened. Then a door opened and a ramp extended to the ground. The first person to walk down was a woman in a formal military uniform with many medals. She had gray hair pulled back tightly and a serious face. Behind her came 5 other humans, 2 more in military dress, 2 in business clothes, and 1 in a white coat that marked him as a scientist. Welcome to Awoke, King Jun said, his voice deep and powerful. I am Jun, sovereign of the Dragon Kingdoms. The woman bowed formally. Thank you for your welcome, King Jun. I am Admiral Kyung of Earth's united government. We are honored to be the first official human delegation to your world. Her eyes moved to Timon, widening slightly when she saw him. Timon knew what she was seeing, a human with faint scale patterns on his skin, eyes with gold flecks in them, and a cape of energy flowing from his shoulders. "This is Guardian Taimen," King Jun said. "Once a human cargo pilot, now a protector of our royal family and our ambassador to Earth." Taimen stepped forward and bowed. "Admiral Kyung, welcome, Guardian Taimen," she said carefully. "Your change has been of great interest to Earth. I imagine it has," he replied. The scientist pushed forward eagerly. "Is it true you can fly? That you have dragon powers? How did the transformation affect your cellular structure?" "I have so many questions, Dr. Park," Admiral Kyung said sharply. "Remember protocol." The scientist stepped back, but his eyes never left Taimen. King Jun spread his wings slightly, a sign of his authority. "You will have time for questions later. First, we will show you our city and share a meal. Then we can discuss the future of relations between our peoples." The delegation followed King Jun into the palace. As they walked, Taimen noticed the humans staring at everything: the living walls, the floating lights, the dragon guards with their energy weapons. They were seeing wonders beyond human technology. During the tour, Admiral Kyung fell into step beside Taimen. "May I speak with you privately?" she asked quietly. "Of course," Taimen replied. He led her to a small garden room off the main hall. "What would you like to know?" "The truth," she said directly. "Are you still yourself? Are you being controlled in any way? Some on Earth believe you've been compromised." Taimen smiled. "I'm still me, Admiral. The breath of dragons saved my life and gave me new abilities, but my mind is my own. My loyalty to humanity hasn't changed. I've just added loyalty to the dragons as well. And these powers you have now," she pressed, "could other humans gain them too?" Taimen understood the real question. "Not the way you're thinking. The breath only worked for me because I was dying after saving Heian. It was freely given to save a life, not to create a weapon or tool." Admiral Kyung studied him carefully. "There are those on Earth who won't believe that. They'll see you as proof that humans can be given dragon powers, and they'll want that technology by agreement or by force." "I know," Taimen said. "That's why my role is so important. I can show that our peoples can work together without fear or greed." Before Admiral Kyung could respond, they were joined by Princess Heian. The young dragon princess approached the admiral without fear. "Do you like our home?" she asked. Admiral Kyung seemed surprised by the direct question from a child. "It's very beautiful," she said. "Unlike anything on Earth." "Tai-Dashman says Earth is beautiful too, in different ways," Heian said. "He says you have blue skies and great oceans and many different animals." "That's right," Admiral Kyung said, her face softening slightly. "Perhaps someday you can visit." "I would like that," Heian said. "Taimen has promised to take me when it's safe." The admiral looked at Taimen with new understanding. "You really do serve as a bridge between our worlds." "I try," he said, later, at the formal dinner. Taimen sat between the human delegation and the dragon royal family. The humans were given food they could eat, while the dragons had their own dishes. King Jun stood to make a speech. "For too long, our peoples have watched each other from a distance," he said. "Humans feared our power, and we feared human curiosity that sometimes becomes greed. But one human showed us that there can be trust between us." Taimen risked his life for a dragon child without thought of reward. His sacrifice opened a new path. The king gestured to Taimen. "In him, we see what is possible: not just cooperation, but true understanding between our kinds. He carries the breath of dragons, yet remains human in heart and mind." Admiral Kyung stood next. "Earth thanks you for this welcome, King Jun. We have much to learn from each other. While some on our world may fear what they don't understand, others seek knowledge and friendship. We hope this visit is the first of many exchanges between our peoples." After dinner, Dr. Park finally got his chance to speak with Taimen. The scientist could barely contain his excitement. "The energy you control, can you show me?" he asked. Tai-Dashman nodded. He focused on his 5 scars, calling forth the silver energy. It flowed around his hands, glowing brightly. "Amazing," Dr. Park whispered. "And you can form this into wings?" "And other things," Taimen said. He shaped the energy into a shield, then a sphere, then let it flow back into his body. "With practice, I can use it in many ways. If we could understand this energy," Dr. Park said, It could change everything for humanity. Medicine, transportation, defense, the energy isn't just science, Timon explained. It's connected to life itself. The dragons have studied it for thousands of years. They're willing to share some of their knowledge, but only with those who respect its power. Before Dr. Park could ask more questions, alarms suddenly rang throughout the palace. Jiho rushed into the room. Guardian Timon, we have intruders at the eastern border. They've breached the outer defenses. Timon turned to Admiral Kyung. Did you bring other ships? No, she said, looking concerned. Only our delegation vessel. Then someone else has found their way here, Timon said grimly. Someone not invited. King Jun entered, his wings fully extended. Guardian Timon, take Princess Han to safety. Suji, escort our guests to the secure chamber. I want to help, Timon said. Your first duty is to protect the princess, Jun reminded him. This is why you trained. Timon bowed and went to Han, who looked frightened. Come, princess. I'll keep you safe. As they hurried through the palace corridors, Timon heard the sounds of energy weapons. He called forth his own power, ready to defend the child he had once saved with his life. Who would attack the palace? Han asked. I don't know, Timon said. But whoever they are, they won't get past me. As they reached the royal safe room, Timon realized that his journey had come full circle. Once again, he stood between danger and a dragon child. But this time, he was not just a human with courage. He was a guardian with the power to protect what he valued. Two worlds had come together in him. And now, he would defend both.